3, 2, 1. Welcome to Affirmations Aloud. I'm Bernadette Maple. I'd like you to make your way to your safe space where you can make yourself comfortable and relaxed. Here we slow down, breathe deeply, and allow ancient wisdom to meet us in the present moment. Settle into stillness now and receive these words with an open heart and closed eyes. Please be kind enough to share and subscribe for obvious reasons, but mostly so that this content is able to reach and be enjoyed by others. That would mean the world to me. Let us become still, settle our breath, and gently turn our attention inward as these ancient words meet us where we are. Psalm 3. Lord, how they have increased who trouble me. Many are they who rise up against me. Many are they who say of me, there is no help for him in God. Selah, but you, O Lord, are a shield for me, my glory and the one who lifts up my head. I cried to the Lord with my voice, and he heard me from his holy hill. Selah, I lay down and slept, I awoke, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people who have set themselves against me all around. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God, for you have struck all my enemies on the cheekbone. You have broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongs to the Lord. Your blessing is upon your people. Selah. Let's explore Psalm 3 together. David wrote this psalm when he was running away from his own son Absalom, who was trying to take his throne. Imagine the pain, betrayal from your own child, people turning against you, feeling surrounded by enemies. Psalm 3 is about trusting God in the middle of crisis. Feeling overwhelmed. David starts by describing his situation. His enemies are increasing. People are saying God won't help him. This is emotional pressure. Not just danger, but people mocking his faith. Sometimes the hardest part of trials isn't the problem itself. It's when others say, "Where is your God now?" The turning point. But you, O Lord, are a shield for me. Here David shifts focus from the problem to God. He calls God a shield, protection, my glory, the source of his honor. Even when people shame him, the lifter of my head, God restores dignity and hope. When life pushes your head down in shame or fear, God lifts it back up. God hears. David says he cried out and God heard him. Even while running and hiding, David knew God still listens. God is still on his throne, his holy hill. No matter how chaotic life feels, heaven is not in panic. Peace in the storm. I lay down and slept. This is powerful. David is surrounded by enemies, and yet he sleeps peacefully. Why? Because his safety depends on God, not circumstances. Real trust in God allows you to rest even when problems are not solved yet. Confidence replaces fear. Now David says, I will not be afraid of 10,000s. The situation hasn't changed, but his faith is strengthened. Faith doesn't deny the danger. It decides God is bigger than it. A prayer for deliverance. David asked God to rise up and save him. Broken the teeth of the ungodly is symbolic language. It means God removes the power of the enemy to harm. God doesn't just comfort, he acts. The final truth. Salvation belongs to the Lord. David ends by declaring, rescue comes from God. Blessing belongs to God's people. He moves from fear to confidence. In short, God protects you when people turn against you. God hears your cry. You can rest because God sustained you. Salvation, deliverance comes from the Lord alone. Affirmations inspired by Psalm 3. Even when many rise up against me, I remember that God is greater than every force that opposes me, and I stand firm in his unshakable protection. When voices around me say there is no help for me, I reject the lie and choose to believe that my help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. No matter how surrounded I feel, I am never abandoned. because God himself stands between me and harm as my shield. The Lord is my defender. He absorbs the blows meant for me and guards my heart with his faithful love. When discouragement tries to lower my head in shame, God gently lifts my chin and restores my confidence. My identity is not defined by my enemies, my mistakes, or my fears. My glory is found in the Lord alone. I cry out to God with confidence, knowing that he hears my voice and responds with compassion and power. Heaven is attentive to my prayers, and my cries do not echo into emptiness, but reach the throne of grace. Even in chaos, God remains seated in authority, steady and sovereign over every detail of my life. Because the Lord sustains me, I can lie down in peace and rest without fear of what tomorrow may bring. Sleep comes to me as a gift of trust, for I know that God works on my behalf, even while I rest. I awaken each morning, sustained by divine strength, renewed by the breath of God within me. Fear does not rule me, for the Lord surrounds me with his protection on every side. Even if thousands oppose me, I stand unshaken because God stands with me. The presence of God is greater than the presence of any threat, and his peace overpowers my anxiety. I refuse to magnify my problems. Instead, I magnify the Lord who rescues and restores me. When I feel overwhelmed, I remember that salvation belongs to the Lord and not to my own efforts. God fights battles I cannot see, dismantling opposition and weakening the power of those who wish me harm. The Lord breaks the strength of injustice and silences the voice of accusation against me. I walk forward with courage because God has already gone before me to prepare victory. My confidence is not rooted in numbers or circumstances, but in the faithful character of God. The Lord lifts me from despair and places my feet on steady ground. I am covered by divine protection that no enemy can penetrate without God's permission. God's blessing rests upon me and upon his people, flowing like a steady river of grace. I am sustained not by my own strength, but by the sustaining hand of the Almighty. When betrayal wounds my heart, God heals me and reminds me that his love never fails. In moments of rejection, I remember that I am accepted and cherished by the Lord. The Lord restores my dignity when shame tries to overwhelm me. I trust that God hears me the first time I call, and he is already working on my behalf. My nights are guarded by his watchful care, and my mornings are greeted by his mercy. God's protection surrounds me like a shield that cannot be shattered. I stand tall because the Lord lifts my head and fills me with renewed hope. I am not defined by what others say about me. I am defined by what God declares over me. The Lord is my refuge when storms rise and my shelter when winds rage. I exchange fear for faith, knowing that God's power far exceeds any opposition. No accusation against me can stand when the Lord is my defender. God strengthens my heart when it feels weak and steadies my spirit when it trembles. Even in uncertainty, I remain secure because my salvation belongs to the Lord. The Lord sustains my mind with peace and my body with rest. I will not be intimidated by the size of my challenge because my God is limitless. God transforms my cries into testimonies and my fears into faith. The one who sits on his holy hill watches over me with unwavering attention. I choose to respond to adversity with prayer rather than panic. The Lord empowers me to rise above every circumstance that seeks to crush my spirit. I walk each day aware that I am divinely protected and deeply loved. When my path feels uncertain, God's presence becomes my steady guide. I rest in the assurance that no enemy can override the purposes of God for my life. The Lord surrounds me behind and before, forming a protective hedge of grace. My heart is anchored in the truth that God's deliverance is certain and sure. I face today with courage because the Lord himself is my salvation and my blessing. Let these words rest within you now, settling gently. As you remain in stillness for as long as you need, mask in the quiet trust that you have created until you are ready to say Amen and open your beautiful eyes.